Evening. It is Friday. I don't know what the date is. It is beautiful here in St. Louis, Missouri. Please do not blink. Although my lilac bush has blooms on it about like that, which means another snow will be happening here real soon. I think today it was going to be really warm, and then tomorrow it's going to be nice, which I'll continue to go work in the backyard after I do all the run I need to do tomorrow. And then I believe Sunday rain comes in, and then they're calling for a mix of rain and snow next week. Welcome to St. Louis. Welcome to St. Louis. Don't blink, because you don't know what the weather's going to do from one day to another. I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach. I'm going to take you along because I'm going to make some mock bourbon beef. I got a hankering for it. I've got some whiskey that I'm going to use. Ran to the grocery store today. I had $100 to go buy groceries. That groceries have to last me for 2 weeks now because with the way that work is, we're splitting tips. I do get my 1 day back starting next week, which I'm very thankful for. The banquet hall will not be ready till April. I re-signed up to do some liquor demoing through a talent agency. But if I had any extra money, I'd go run to the liquor store, the good liquor store, and go get myself some really good bourbon. But in the meantime, we're just going to kind of wing it. Because it's easy. It is the easiest dish to make ever. You know, you got to get yourself some good stew meat. And then you want to even cut this up. But I'm going to take you along a little bit and hope I don't bore you too much. Let me bring you a little closer. Went and got my hair cut last night. If you're looking for a really good place to get your hair cut very reasonably and very affordable, go see my cousin Ann at Image Makers in South County area. She did a fabulous job. Now I just have to color it. Got to get rid of some of the yellow in this blonde because it is too yellow, and touch up these grays. This is just absolutely ridiculous, but I've been letting it go just a little bit to see exactly how much the gray is, and there's a lot. Was in the backyard this afternoon. Took Francis, the little staffy, for a walk. We went on the longest walk. Went up the trail. Sketchy people on the trail. I think I've said that before. I don't like walking that trail anymore, but we walked over to the cemetery and walked through the cemetery a little bit. I was kind of having a little bit of nostalgia because when I first moved into this house, I walked that trail so many times. And then especially after I had gotten sick and I was trying to work on my weight and my health and everything, I was walking that trail every other day, 6 miles, 3 to 6 miles. Got down to a nice svelty size 5. Do I wish I was a size 5 now? Maybe more like a 6 or 7. This winter has been hard. It has been a hard winter, and it has just made me where I'd have not wanted to do anything or go anywhere, and it has been mentally challenging just to show up at work to do my job. Drinking water because these lovely circles under my eyes, the allergies have already kicked in. So I'm trying to hydrate. Tomorrow in the morning I'm going to try to do this while I'm talking because otherwise I'll be talking and I won't get anything done. Tomorrow I go to get my contacts adjusted. The right eye works fine, the left eye does not. So got to get that taken care of. Want to run over to my favorite produce store, looking for my favorite knife. You know, you have a favorite knife, a favorite burner, all those things. We'll go with that one. That'll work. Gonna go over to the produce store, try to pick up some fruit. Was at Aldi's today. Like I said, I spent $100. Bought some really good meats and some vegetables to try to make meal stretch for the next 2 weeks, which I can do it. It's not that big of a deal. Did that, but I want to go get some really good produce at my favorite Rogers in Webster Groves. I'm going to use this bowl for some cornstarch. I need a bigger counter. I need a bigger kitchen. I I need another house. I need another job. I need another life. Because the one that I'm living in, it's no longer really working. Okay, so what you're going to do, you are going to get some cornstarch. You are going to take your cornstarch, and I gave Shug a quarter of a jar of peanut butter, so hopefully she'll be chewing on that and she won't be barking. But anyway, I was working in the yard, breaking up, filling in the dinosaur holes from the dogs. And I see grasses coming up. Like I said, my lilac bush is starting to bloom. The daffodils are up, that much. The irises are up. Trying to figure out what I'm going to plant this year. You know all those tomatoes that I had last year? And I had made all that sauce in those jars. Well, apparently I didn't can them correctly. And probably 6 out of 15 jars went bad. So I was not real happy with that because that sauce was the best sauce that I had ever made from scratch with my tomatoes. So I was in the yard today kind of looking around, to see how I'm going to plant, what I'm going to do. So I raked up a bunch of leaves, cleaned up the yard as much as I possibly could without disturbing too much because it is really early. But I would love to get some more rose bushes, want to get some more ornamental grasses. One of the brewers at my work is going to give me some canna bulbs because I would love to do cannas across that whole back fence. I'm hoping tomorrow I can get the kid to help me work on that back fence a little bit while it's nice and clear with no leaves. I can see what needs to be cut down, taken down. Want to take down some of those pallets that I have on my fence. Okay, so I'm taking the stew meat, which is very no fat on it. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just cutting them in half. These are bite sizes, but I want them smaller. It just cooks better. I'm just kind of cutting these in half and putting them in the cornstarch. I did buy some garlic and onion powder today when I was at Aldi's. I think I've said before, you want to get really good spices for your money. Go over to like Home Goods or Marshall's, TJ Maxx, and look at Ross, and look in their culinary section. Spices last forever, and you get them in larger jars for a really good price. So I broke down and I did buy garlic powder and some onion powder because I just needed it. And I have my grinder that had the really good, the garlic and sea salt. I wanted one that had garlic, sea salt, pepper, and another spice, but I didn't find it or see it. But sometimes, like with this Bourbon Beef, you want it to have a little bit of a kick. I'm going to use regular vegetable oil in my pan. I need to re-season my cast iron because I've used it so much and I've kind of let it just set. It needs to be re-seasoned, which is no big deal. You just take a little bit of a Brillo pad, scrub it real good, dry it, throw some salt and some oil in it, let it cook on the stove, and then put it in the oven upside down, and you're good to go. One of my customers at one of my other jobs gave me this cast iron that I absolutely love, and then I picked up a really, really big one at the thrift store last year, maybe. It is great for frying chicken. And then I have a Dutch oven that's cast iron that I absolutely love too. I'd love to find, I had a griddle and I left it outside because I was using it to barbecue one year, and I left it outside and it got really, really rusty, and I don't think it can be repaired, but I'm looking for a smaller griddle. Well, what about you? How has your week been? What have you been eating? What have you been cooking? What has been the highlight of your week? Have you found any glimmers? Because I know right now it's hard to find them glimmers. I did not listen to the president the other night because I am really, really laying off all of anything political because I just don't want to know. I don't want to know. If it's not really affecting me in my personal life, my personal world, I don't want to know. I'm going to wash my hands. Hang on. And you'd be surprised, I have no dishes in my sink. I did all that before I got on camera. I bought this orange hand soap from, where did I buy it from? Home Goods. Oh my God, it smells so good. It's like fresh oranges. It was $5.99. It was well worth it. Oh my God, it just smells wonderful. I would love to be able to get some kind of body lotion like that. I was still looking for that other body lotion too. Where's my towel? Let me find my towel. Hold on. Okay, got my towel. But anyway, I was still looking for the amber and cedar. It's a nice woodsy, earthy scent, but I haven't found that yet. Okay, so what you're going to do, and don't inhale this, you're just going to coat this really, really good, like this. Let's turn this on. Ah! I hate when I do that. I turn it on and then it just kind of blows up. Okay, so we're going to get this nice and coated. We are going to take some of this garlic and sea salt. And after I went to Aldi's today, I ran over and to the Family Dollar, not Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and picked up some dog food. I had no desire to go into Walmart today, just didn't have the energy for it, because I knew I wanted to come home and work in the yard. So as I was getting my hair cut last night, trying to play catch up on what's going on with that side of the family, because I don't see them very often. No, stop, you're all right. So I was trying to, find out how everybody is, what everybody's doing. Like I said, it's been a hard last year, difficult for me to have contact with really anybody. Been so diligent on trying to work and content create and find brand products and so on and so forth, which I'll tell you about something that was offered to me that I just shake my head at because no. More. But anyway, so I'm like, so how are you? How's business? The general thing when you go to get your hair cut. If you know the other person, trust me, your hairdresser knows more about your life probably than your significant other knows about your life. But anyway, I'm like, how's business? We were talking about that, and then she says to me, well, how's business at the restaurant? And I do that kind of thing again. And she's like, well, why do you think that is? And I just didn't have the energy. I just didn't really have the energy to go into a whole psychological path on why I believe the restaurant is not doing as well as I believe it should. I'm old school. I see things from a completely different, but I'm telling her about certain aspects from the restaurant. People, situations, so on and so forth. And the more I'm listening to myself, and I'm watching the look on her face, and although I know I'm living this life, to tell someone what is kind of going on in a bigger circumference thing, to see shock and horror on somebody's face, I was kind of like, what I'm living, what other people would believe to be normal, and as I'm saying it, it is not making sense to me at all. It's like, when you're involved in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, and you go through it, you don't really realize how bad it all is till you're out of it, and then you're trying to tell somebody exactly what you went through, and the look of horror and shock on their face, like, how could you tolerate that? That's why I often say, you have no idea what I've been through, and you would really question if you knew the truth of how I'm still standing. But as I'm telling her last night, you know, what has been happening, she's like, oh my God. And you know, I can't preface enough. I want out of food and beverage. I am aging out of it. Maybe if it was a different type of atmosphere. But it's like I need to find things that are better suited to my skills. Because I still have to work. I still want to work. Alright, where's my spatula? Okay, so I've got that nice and coated. Those are like smaller than bite size. These would make really good garlic bites, garlic butter bites too. If you wanted to do that instead of, you know, the cornstarch for the bourbon. But now we're going to coat this. I've got the pan, probably 1/8 of oil in the pan because it's going to soak it all up. We do not want to cook the meat, but we want to brown it really well. So think about your own life. If you are telling people about your life or what you have gone through, and you're listening to yourself really, really, you know, speak. And after you're away from a situation, when you were looking at it a little clearer, it almost does become kind of like crazy, like chaotic, like toxic. But in your own life, how many stories have you told as you were telling the story, and it just, you're shocked as the things come out of your mouth, like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I tolerated that. I can't believe I went through all that. So on my way home last night, I almost felt bad. I didn't feel sorry for myself, and I'm not playing victim, but I'm like, my God, how much more? So today, when I got up this morning, I was going to try to do a video earlier, and I was like, no, I'm just going to get myself together, and I'm going to run to the store, I'm going to play in the yard, because dirt therapy makes everything better. And as much as I would love to have somebody take a couple of my classes, get your hands in the dirt, figure out what you're going to plant this year, look at your garden, look at your fences, what can you fix, what can you do to have hands in the soil. Okay, so I got that. I'm going to bring you a little closer yet. I think that will do. Stop you from shaking. Sorry about that. Okay, we're just going to kind of let that go. Let it get real brown. But we want that coating to stay on it. We don't want it to stick. And here's the thing too, when you're cooking with cast iron, you can't scrape the bottom of the pan. It's not going to hurt anything. And if you are anemic or you are low on ferritin, cooking in a cast iron skillet is the way to go. Just that little bit of iron helps. I'm a firm believer that aluminum and Teflon are culprits to Alzheimer and dementia. Let that go. Let me hit this again. Now this is going to have to cook on low for probably 2 to 3 hours, which is fine. We've been eating later. It is 6:33 p.m. St. Louis time. So probably by 8:30, 9 o'clock this will be ready to go, which is fine. I am going to take, where is it at? Where is it at? There it is. I'm going to take some of this lemon pepper. I picked that up at Home Goods also. I'm going to coat that like that. This has just the right amount of pepper in it. And I don't want to add any more salt, so that'll be good. Get that stirred. Okay, so this is the tricky part. Make sure your fire is turned down low. Low, 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 low. Take your bourbon, although I am using wheat whiskey because this is what I have on hand. And you are going to, and if you need to stand back in case, you know, there's a flash fire, but you're going to just take some of that. And that is probably about a cup. Gotta be careful I don't get too close to it in case it let me get my wooden spoon. Like I said, I wanted to go to the liquor store to get some really, really good bourbon. And I'm still thinking Dr. Pepper now has a raspberry or blackberry bourbon. If I can find that, I'm going to try it. It sounds yummy, and I'm not a bourbon drinker by any means, but I will cook with it and bake with it. Okay, so I got my wooden spoon. We're going to get all of those little goody things that have all stuck to the pan. And this bourbon, the alcohol part of it will burn off. And it will leave such a good flavor. So, the one company that reached out to me, beautiful jewelry, just absolutely beautiful jewelry. And they were going to give me a code to buy the jewelry to endorse the products, which I'm all about, because that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for brands that I can work with. My deliverables are, you send me the product, nothing is out of my pocket, and then I will make one post, I will do one video, and I will put your link wherever. I just heard brakes like slam. With this weather being nice right now, people are driving crazy. Anyway, so those are my deliverables when there's an exchange, product for service. I was not being paid for anything outside of that. That was my deliverable. That's what I said that I was willing to do for them. Well, with that code that they sent me, there was shipping involved. And it wasn't cheap. And I don't know where they were based from, and I could probably guess it was a Shopify type account. And I won't give the name because I'm not endorsing them. But anyway, back and forth for a while. And the shipping was over $40. And I'm like, you know, very politely, very businesslike, I'm like, thank you for the offer. I greatly appreciate it. I believe your jewelry is beautiful. You know, it would fit into my lifestyle content. I don't mind endorsing and doing this exchange for you, but I'm not paying for shipping. You know, at this time, I am only accepting gifted merchandise fully. You know, again, my deliverable, you send me the product, I will put it in a post, and I will do a video for it. you know, like a little commercial, because that's what I do. That's what UGC Creating does. So, okay, that has cooked down. It's got a nice little, not quite a sauce, but it's thickened up. Now we're going to take some of the beef. I'll finish my story in a minute. We're going to take some beef broth. Not a lot. Not a lot at all. And I'm just measuring from my heart. I've made this so many times. So you are going to use your beef broth, and you are going to about halfway you want to cover the pan. So the meat is pretty much submerged, but not submerged. Then you're going to let that kind of cook and let that get thick for just a hot minute. And stir it around. Get all those good little crunchy things in here. Get it all mixed up. Okay, we're going to let that come to a boil now. Turn that back up. So anyway, back to my story. They come back with, well, we're going to give you a code where you can sell our jewelry as a commission and you will get all of that back. No, that wasn't the deal. That was not in my deliverable. They said we don't have, you know, any say over shipping, depends on your area. That's fine. That's nice. I understand that. But as a company, when you are asking someone to represent your brand, if you are a legit company, you are going to send the products, what you are expected, you know, in return, your specifics, and then the person who is doing the endorsing, they have deliverables that they are going to tell you that they can meet. Well, they went back and forth with me for a couple days. Have you ordered yet? Have you got your product? You know, here's your code. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I am not interested. So as of right now, I have not heard anything back, but I think I've made myself very, very clear. I'm not doing anything out of my pocket when I am not getting paid to do something. Here is something else, another position. You know, I've been looking for media coordinating positions. A very long time ago, I did that for a lighting company. I love that gig. It was just a gig. It lasted maybe 8 months at that, and I would go to their job site. I would take pictures of the gentleman putting in the lines, the lights. It was just gorgeous, and they were high-end homes that had all of these recessed lighting and, you know, in the driveway, in between all the landscapes and everything. It was absolutely gorgeous. And then in return, I got paid a monthly retainer for doing all of that work. I'd put a little blurb with it, and I put it up on their Pinterest page. He got all the photos for his website. That is media coordinating. Now, we've come a little bit farther with social media, and we have TikTok and, you know, Instagram and so on and so forth. That is the type of media coordinating I am looking for. You know, 4-6 hours out of my week, a flat $180 a week, and with a $200 per 3-month retainer, which is so affordable if you have a company and you are looking for someone to up your social media game. So, okay, so this is now boiling. I'll finish that story. Okay, so we don't want anything to stick at this point. And as it is boiling, you want to stir it, because I'm not ready to turn down the heat yet. Anyway, that particular gentleman was going through a divorce. It was absolutely crazy, and he lost all of his funding for whatever. It was a great gig, though. I would love to do that, and I believe if you go over to my Pinterest page, it's either KM Designs or Kitryn Marie, you can see all of my deliverables when it comes to my photography. That's how I started as a photographer. So there's another company, a sports type company, won't give the name, no need to, who's looking for a media coordinating position. I was more than qualified. It paid $30 an hour. Basically, that's what media coordinating pays, $30 an hour. That is a given. That's not an outlandish amount to pay somebody who is skilled. Well, come to find out, that was kind of a bait and switch. And I have upped my resume. It shows very minute of the events and coordination in the restaurant and food and beverage industry. It leans more into me being a published author, me being a writer, me being an artist, me being an instructor, me being a speaker, so on and so forth, photographer. So his response, which is really nice too, for as much as unemployment is about at 6%, anybody that I am responding to, I'm at least either getting an interview or getting feedback, an email. I haven't gotten phone calls from anything other than that first real interview that I had, the operations coordinator, and I don't even want to talk about that one. But anyway, where am I at? Oh, so they respond, hey, thank you for reaching out. We love your skills. We think your skills align with what we are looking for, but we are going to go with another candidate. Now that's a very broad, and I wonder how much of that, again, is ageism. You would be very surprised how ageism very much plays a significant role when you are trying to completely leap out of one career that you no longer can do into something else. So within that email, this company says, but hey, we think you would be great at affiliate marketing, and for anybody that you can get signed up, we will pay you $30 for every sign up. No, I'm not working on my time and chasing, leads that may not even exist that I have to come up with on my own. No, bait and switch. So when you are sending your resume out and people are responding to you, be very clear on this is the position you want, this is the only position that you are interested in, and don't allow anybody else to bait and switch so they can get free help. Okay, this is boiling now. We can completely turn it down. I've stirred it a couple times. I did not have my bottle of soy sauce anymore. I kind of used it. But, anybody who goes to the Chinese restaurant, don't throw your goodies away. So what we're going to do is we are going to use 6 of these. Let's do it like this. Spilling it. Do that. That's 2, 4. I'll clean up the mess when I'm done. I've got 2 more here. This is soy sauce. Okay, we're going to let that go in there. Got a big old mess I got to clean up. Like I said, this is going to cook on low for about 2 hours, and I will add, I think, green beans with it. I need a vegetable, and then we will serve it. I will serve it over rice. I'll serve it over rice. Okay, so let's get that stirred up and put that in here. It just smells wonderful. The whole idea of cooking it on low for 2 hours It gets that meat nice and tender, so when you bite into it, it literally melts in your mouth. And as this cooks down, it won't be so much liquid. And I'll give you a closer view as I'm getting closer to the end of this video. So anyway, those were two of the companies that I have been dealing with. And I've been getting just a little bit overwhelmed, not depressed, but overwhelmed because, again, I need to lean out of food and beverage. I just don't know how much more physically I can deal with. And I've been very thankful that we've been on this downtime, but I do not appreciate splitting tips, and I do not appreciate my hours when I am a top earner being cut. Okay, so now we are going to go into some apple cider vinegar. We don't want a lot of this. We want maybe a tablespoon. A little bit. That might be too much, but it'll be fine. Doing it with love. Gonna get that all stirred up. God, this smells so good. I've been trying to cook things very different. I've used my crock pot a couple different times. I made a chicken Alfredo a week ago. I made so much of it we had leftovers for almost a week. Okay, that is thickening up beautifully. And now we are going to hit it with some apple juice. The apple juice mixes in with the bourbon that gives it just this full, rounded tang. Oh, just a bold, savory bite. And we are just going to, just like that. That was probably about a cup. And we're going to let that come to a boil again. I mean, this is cheaper than ordering from the Chinese restaurant. And most of these ingredients you should have on hand. I don't know if you have bourbon or whiskey on hand, but you can go to any of the gas stations and buy a little bottle or two little bottles, and it's more than enough than what you need for this. I know, dogs, you want to be fed. There we go. We're going to let that cook because it's all going to soak in those good juices. Let's put it back up a little bit and let it come to another boil. But I hope whatever you have been doing this week, that there have been glimmers in your life. I hope if you are looking for another job and you were looking for other opportunities, that you are not being bamboozled into something that does not align with what the original email had said. I hope that as you were telling somebody your story, that the people that you were telling your story to and what has happened to you in your life and how you are experiencing things or have experienced things, that they're not looking at you with shock and horror. Because that's a hard pill to swallow when you're telling somebody all the things that you've gone through and what you're experiencing, and they cannot understand all the toxicity that is coming out of your mouth that other people think to be normal, when it is not normal. And because as a life coach, I look at patterns, I watch habits, I read between lines and words, I watch actions, and sometimes you get sucked into doing things because it is your job. And there are certain things that are required from you that you're just supposed to stuff things down, where in the long run, it does make you sick. It does make you lose your hair. It does make you have anxiety. And you start to question all of your ability and all of your skills. I see you, Loli. You're all right, or Bougie. You okay? But anyway, let me show you this real quick. I'm going to try to get this here where I'm not like... But it is coming to a nice boil. Like I said, it will simmer for about 2 hours. There we go. As it thickens, I will then throw the vegetables in it, serve it over some rice, and that will be our meal for tonight. So, I am Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Reside in St. Louis, Missouri, teach a variety of art classes, a published author when he had her available on Amazon. However your week has been, enjoy the weekend. If you're able to get out and do some exercise, get your hands in the dirt, do a little dirt therapy. Think about what you want to grow, how you can plant your seeds now. You reap what you sow. And you can take that in any way that you would like to understand that. Be happy, be thankful. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of the coin you want to be on. I hear it bubbling. I'm going to stir it again and then turn it down. But y'all take care, and I will see you real soon. If you are interested in taking a painting class, a life coaching class, putting a vision board together, or business coaching, reach out, kitrynmarie@gmail.com. If you have a product, you need it to be reviewed, you want to send me your product, I will do a post, I will do a video, I will add your link. You send it all to me, and those are my deliverables. But y'all take care, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.